Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming the eminent speakers of today's live panel discussion. My heartfelt welcome to Dr. S. Vijayalakshmi, Principal, Vignesh Nursing College, Tiruvannamalai, Dr. Jayashree, Homeopathy Practitioner, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Dr. R. Kavita, Professor, Assistant Professor, PSG College of Arts and Science, Dr. Subramanian, Professor of English, Government Arts and Science, Dr. Arun, AEFI Consultant, South and East Zone, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare Principal, Dr. A. Jayasudha, who was a guiding and motivating force for this live webinar. My sincere welcome to the participants of today's session and hope this webinar will enlighten your knowledge and acceptance towards COVID vaccine. I have a small request. Kindly post the queries in the chat box. It will be discussed at the end of the session. May I request our principal ma'am, Dr. A. Jayasudha, to unveil the theme and introduce the moderator and panelists. Once again, welcome one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, Purnima. A very good afternoon to one and all. It's my great pleasure to welcome you once again. We are living in a very unusual, unseen environment in this world. The pandemic crisis has changed the entire lifestyle of us, or created a new human being within us. The way we think, we feel has changed never before. The first human case of COVID-19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus, causing COVID-19, subsequently named as SARS-CoV-2, was reported by officials in Wuhan City, China in December 2019. The first case of COVID-19 infection reported in Kerala, India on January 27, 2020. And has been declared as a global pandemic by the World Health Organization on 11th of March 2020. So it started affecting the people worldwide from 2020. So the WHO says as of 1st July, yesterday, more than 182 million cases have been confirmed. Around 3.93 million confirmed deaths due to COVID-19, making it one of the deadliest pandemics in the history of the world. In India, we have more than 3 crores of confirmed cases, deaths with 40 lakhs, and in Tamil Nadu, we have confirmed cases of 24 lakhs, with a death rate of 32,721. So how are we going to prevent it or control of this pandemic? Through the vaccination. Not only with the vaccination, where we need to follow the COVID appropriate behavior like SMS, where sanitize yourself, maintaining social distance with a 1 to 2 meter, and washing the hands, also using the face mask. So by following this, we will be able to prevent it, and also we can control the severity of the pandemic disease. So vaccines are the tugboats of preventive health, according to William. And India began its administration of COVID-19 vaccines on 16th January 2021. Almost 1 year. January 20th, the first case was reported, 2020, and January 2021, the vaccination administration was done. So current COVID vaccine status in India, more than 42,64,000 vaccination doses has been given as of 1/7/2021, and 34 million people have been vaccinated as per the government of India. There are different types of COVID vaccines are available, like Covishield, which is in use now from 2021 January, Covaxin from 3rd January 2021, and Sputnik V has come to our India from 12th April 2021. Now again the news which says the Moderna vaccine is going to come from US to India. We have other vaccines like Zycov-D. Today's paper we see that it's on phase 3 trials which will be coming soon for the adolescents. and other vaccine are Covovax or Corbevax, which is on trial base. As of today, as I told you, Zydus Cadila applies for approval to ZyCoV-D, which is India's first COVID vaccine, tested on 12 to 18 years old age group. And this is a DNA vaccine that works against the major viral membrane protein responsible for the novel coronavirus entry into the body cells. And it is not by injection, it is by the oral dose of 3 doses for the children between 12 to 18 years. And Sputnik Light, again, after launching this, Russia had introduced a new single-dose vaccine, which is called Sputnik Light in May 2021. And Dr. Reddy's lab, Hyderabad, has planned to conduct 3-phase trial of Russia's Sputnik Light vaccine. But the central government subject experts committee has denied the permission to Dr. Reddy's laboratories for conducting this trial in Russia's COVID-19 vaccine in our India. So the Moderna vaccine has now got approval from our government for the import of their COVID-19 vaccine to India. It is shown to have an efficacy of approximately 94.1% in protecting against COVID-19. So how safe are we with the COVID vaccines? So today we are going to talk. We have an expert panel with the moderator who is going to give us the enormous information about the myths versus miracles of the COVID vaccines. Common few myths are here. COVID vaccines have been developed too quickly. So the people, they don't want to take the vaccine. They believe that after the vaccination, there are serious side effects worse than having the virus. And vaccines developed from DNA will affect my DNA. Vaccine contain all the animal products. It will affect the fertility, have adverse effect in pregnancy and lactation. And vaccine types are brand new. So I don't want to take it up, this vaccine. Avoid non-vegetarian food on vaccine day. I have developed the natural immunity. Recently, even in US, they said, develop the natural immunity as I had COVID. I don't want to take up the vaccination. And vaccine causes autism. And death following COVID-19 vaccine is high. I might be allergic to the vaccine, but I won't know until I get it. So these are the few myths among the people. WHO views the miracles of COVID vaccine. As per the director, General WHO says that no one is safe until everyone is safe. So if I am immunized, I'm not safe until everyone has been immunized in this world. That is what it means. Miracles of COVID vaccine. This vaccine develops the immune response, reduces the risk of developing the illness or severity of the illness has been reduced, and protects oneself and the people around us. So today we are going to have the panel discussion to provoke the ideas of the different expert speakers with us today to have about myths and miracles of COVID vaccine. So at the outset, I thank all the panelist members and the moderator for accepting to be with us today and to discuss this topic, which is a need of the hour in our society. So the objective of this discussion, which facilitates in-depth understanding about the COVID vaccine, breaks the myths and fears of vaccine, move towards the fairer, healthier world. So let me introduce the moderator of our discussion. Ma'am is a doctorate in nursing. She is specialized as well in acupressure. She is a transformational dynamic leader in nursing for more than 2 decades. Her expertise in teaching is demonstrated well with the curriculum designing, with statutory bodies. Her administration skills and ability has made her to be the member of governing council. She's an executive council member in the State Nursing Council and the Senate member. Her voice for righteousness had made be the DNA Vice President, and where she has obtained the opportunities for self-financing college nursing students to acquire the government job. She is a guide for the PhD scholars, and she is an editorial advisory board member for various national and international journals. She has presented more than 74 papers and published in Book 6 and Articles 34. And she has been received the Women Achiever Award and Silver Medal for her PhD degree, and a Best Teacher Award and the Best Nurse Educator Award. So we welcome you, Dr. Vijayalakshmi, the principal of Vignesh Nursing College, for accepting to be the moderator to moderate this panel discussion. Thank you. Coming to our panelists, the great eminent speakers, we have Ma'am is a homeopathic medicine graduate, specialized in acupuncture, and she has been additionally trained in infertility treatment via homeopathy. Her strength starts from multilinguistic, a public speaker, the motivator, the family counselor, yoga trainer, the active member of Tamil Sangam at Jeddah. She has wide experience in homeschooling for 15 years at kindergarten level, and admire her patience, communication skills, interpersonal relationship with the children, their family, and the patients. Ma'am, we are fortunate to invite you for the panel discussion and to have with us. She is Dr. Jayashree Murthy, the homeopathy practitioner in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Welcome you, ma'am. It's my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Subramaniam, Professor, Department of English, Government Arts College, who is a powerful public speaker, motivator, and the creative business leadership coach. He has organized various business leadership coaching and training programs to different groups of audience. He has shared his message over 1 million people in India and in 9 different countries. He has authored 13 books, including English and Business English. And he has been conferred with Phil Pugsley Patron USA for his service to humanity. And he has been invited to United Nations for Global Partnership Summit and represented JCI India. So being a president of JCI India in 2015, and he has achieved a lot of training people in the business. I can say he's a business magnet attracting the business people. And he has been certified quality auditor by Indian Institute of Quality Management and certified trainer, British Council for University of Cambridge Business English. He has created 11 authors by his book authoring workshop named BAT, Become an Author Today. He has represented India and was trained by the World Leadership Academy, Japan. He has been invited to UN for Global Partnership Summit and represented JCI India. So we welcome you, sir. Dr. Kavita, the proud alumni of PSG CAS, is working as Assistant Professor of Social Work Department at PSG College of Arts and Science. She has instinct in the areas like HRM, employee welfare, women empowerment, urban and rural development, mental health well-being, and so on. She is a family therapist too. Recently in 2019, she has been honored the Best Teacher Year Award in PSG Charities, and she has been honored with the grants from the National Commission for Women, New Delhi, to organize the legal awareness program for Hand in Hand and the NGO Chennai to carry out the study on solid waste management in the blocks of Coimbatore, and from TIS Mumbai, that is Tata Group, to carry out the community-based assessment, Tata Tea Valparai. She is the advisory and executive member in various committees in the college and outside the colleges of Coimbatore. She is the Best Outgoing Student Award. Maximum usage among the faculty members in e-learning is she has got it. And we are really happy to have you with us, ma'am, Dr. Kavita. Welcome you. And it's my great pleasure to welcome the youngest, charming alumni of our PSG IMS, sir, specialized in community medicine from Vardhaman Mahavir Medical College, Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi. Dr. Arun, Senior Zonal AFE Consultant, Southeast Zone Immunization Division, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, New Delhi. After his NMD, he has completed his PG Diploma in Bioethics. May it be his university examination or the academic competitive exam or the departmental quiz, he had been the topper right through his study period as a student and secured gold medal at the university examinations, both UG and PG. His ample experience and expertise in academics, epidemiology, public health, research, actives, and health education has set a base for him to become the Adverse Event Following Immunization, AEFI Consultant, Government of India. He is a Senior Zonal AEFI Consultant representing Immunization Division, works with the team lead of AEFI, improves the state level coordination and strengthens the surveillance. Being an ardent researcher, focuses on infection and food safety. And he had worked for WHO in 2015 under National Polio Surveillance and the project during the intensive pulse polio immunization campaign. So he has been published in national and international journals 6 articles. So we welcome you, Dr. Arun. So with a small note, I conclude that, dear delegates, I'm sure you will enjoy this platform. Join with us. Thank you for joining with us. Stay safe, stay healthy by vaccinating yourself and following SMS. Thank you. Dr. Vijayalakshmi, the stage is yours now. Thank you all.
A very good afternoon to everyone. I am very glad and happy to be a part of this panel discussion on miracles and myths on COVID. And to say about this topic, though there are so many topics have been covered on particularly on coronavirus disease like cause, spread, prevention, management. Likewise, there are many topics were spoken on many regards on seminar, conferences, national, international level as regarding the management. So many topics were been, even on the vaccination also different highlights were given. But still, the topic which has been chosen by PSG College of Nursing under the head of Dr. Jayasudha Principal, it is a very novel topic and it is the need of the heart, especially the miracles and myths, because there were so many myths were prevailing among the public, whether I should go for a vaccination or I should not go for a vaccination, whether this condition I am having, whether if I go for a vaccination, whether I'll get the disease or without vaccination, I will stay healthy. So many confusions and there are so many questions. Even the myths have been thrown on the PowerPoint presentation, which has been done by Dr. Jayasudha. We do have an eminent panelist, as we have seen their bio, like 4 panelists in the 4 different fields have come here to throw the light of the miracles of the vaccination, as well as to discuss and dissolve the myths which has been existing among the public. Before going to the panel discussion, we know this COVID, coronavirus disease, has been likely to be originated from the bats or pangolins. And as it has been rightly said and discussed by Dr. Jayasudha, and any Tom, Dicky, Harry knows the first origin is by Wuhan, China, and followed by that in December 2019, January 27th in Kerala, it has been first identified. It has been well said by Dr. Jayasudha. Like once it has been identified in the Kerala, then the spread of the disease is going to be the news of each and every people in the country, in the state, district, in every home. We have started talking about the coronavirus. Coming to one simple thing, if you ask anyone, which is the common word which is known for everyone, everyone says school, but it is more than that. The word corona has come into the work, because from before preschoolers, even the age of 100 or more than age of 100 years, illiterate people also knows about the coronavirus disease signs and symptoms and what are the treatment modalities, how it is done. So such a vast spread has happened from January 2020, and WHO has declared as a pandemic in the March 2020, stating that this is a viral spread which is affecting many people, where the management is becoming difficult and where we cannot control the spread of the disease. Since then, we usually see something like in TV or hear some news regarding the death or regarding the disease. But this coronavirus disease has been a very big pandemic and has made us to realize the pain of every human being, because a huge cry. Whenever we switch on the TV, we say the number of cases has been so many, and also the deaths are equalizing to the proportionate increase of the coronavirus disease. It is really disheartening each and every one of us to say why this pandemic has occurred. And usually we say, whenever we have a problem, we just go to temple or we go to hospital to solve the problems. These are the 2 main things are considered as a problem solver. But now the temples were closed. We cannot pray to the God, thinking that, as rightly said by another expert, the God is in each one's home and we can pray to him. Yeah, rightly said. But still the temples are closed. It is again agony for the public. And moreover, the hospitals, for the treatment purpose, when the people are going and approaching, the hospital are saying there is no bed, no oxygen, no saturation. When I refer many of my friends to the hospital, the ambulance is just going around the hospital to say there is beds, no bed and no oxygen, and we can see the people dying on the floors of the hospital or in the entrance without even the treatment. So that a pandemic, and it has created a big agony and pain in each and every one's of the heart. But after this pandemic information, every one of the people started thinking. In 2020 March, when it is declared pandemic, every people started thinking, why the vaccination has not yet found? What is happening to the government of India? What is happening to the UK government, US government, China, Japan? What the government is doing? What is the Ministry of Health is doing in various countries? What the pharmacists are doing? What is the biotechnology people are doing? And why do doctors are not able to find the vaccination? It is so difficult to find the vaccination, and the people are dying in large number, in lakhs and lakhs. We are hearing that the patients are increasing day by day, and this corona is a war among all the countries. It doesn't, the one big thing which we have to tell about this coronavirus is it doesn't discriminate the people. This is like a war. It affects American, Indian, Japanese, Chinese, whoever it is. It just go and begin a big attack to everyone and also kills the people. Everyone wants to be a slave under the king of corona. In that way, the speeches has been made. So it is, everyone has gone into the stage of fear and fatigability and tiresome. Even many people have gone to a psychological attack. Economy has downtrodden the country. Of all, why the vaccine is not found. And other side, if you see all the biotechnicians, biotechnologists, they were under the phase 1 trial, phase 2 trial, and they're trying their level best, and they want to think about how to find the vaccination, whether it can be a viral vector or it by the DNA or RNA, we have to do something, or it is because of any protein subunit, and these are the 4 classifications which has been given by the types of vaccination which has been done. Either it can be a whole virus vaccine. So this all they are struggling on other end. But out of all these fights going on, finally in January 2021, the vaccine has come to the country, many of the countries as well as in India, and the very largely the vaccine which is in vogue is Covishield and Covaxin, though there are other vaccine on queue like Sputnik and Pfizer, or on the way Moderna is also coming, and a few other vaccines are also already discussed by Dr. Jayasudha. But though commonly used vaccine Covishield and Corona Covaxin are there, people are not coming forward to take the vaccination. Why? People have so many doubts in their mind. If at all I am vaccinated, whether I will get the disease, if at all I am vaccinated, whether I will be completely away from the disease. But few have a questions even thrown to us saying that I was vaccinated, after 2 weeks of vaccination only I got the coronavirus disease. This is mainly because why I have vaccinated. So people have a doubt, and thus information is spreading a lot. And to the height and peak of the myth, the Nobel laureate Luc Montagnier has declared in a YouTube video stating that the people who are vaccinated, especially whichever type of vaccination it is, they are going to die within 2 years. Again, a big alarm was going around the world stating that whether I have to go for a vaccination. And also people like Mr. Vivek, after death, soon after the day of vaccination, has said because of vaccination only Mr. Vivek actor has died. So many things were going in the mind of the people. Pregnancy people, whether I can take the vaccine. Breastfeeding people, can I go for a vaccination? Or I am an alcoholic, I am a smoker, shall I go for a vaccination? Or I had already the disease, should I go for? So many very different questions were in the minds of the people. Though this myths were going around, and this is the hesitancy which are making the people to go and for the vaccination, which prevents them from going the vaccination. So with all in this mind, this topic will be doing the wonders in the public mind, and also if professionals like pharmacy, nursing, medical people are attending that, they also can bring into the public platform and make sure that this problem is solved, or these myths and confusions are cleared among all the people. So we do have so many eminent speakers to talk about these things, and Dr. Jayasudha also very clearly said regarding the rising increase of this coronavirus disease statistics, really 18 crore people have been infected all over the world. Out of that, 39 lakhs people were died. And in India, 3 crore people are affected, out of which 4 lakh people are died. So with this, we are January 21st, and also if we see today's statistics, 34 crores people are already vaccinated in India. So yet people are to be vaccinated. So with all this confusion, I invite our panelists to come for the discussion. The first question I would like to throw to Dr. Arun. So, regarding the COVID-19 vaccination, there are different types of vaccination is existing. So, can you help us to clear what are the vaccines are available in our country, and few more light on it? Can you please?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. It's a great honor to participate in this panel discussion with some great experts and panelist members. Thank you for the opportunity. So, as ma'am told that since the origin of the novel coronavirus in Wuhan in December 2019, I was at PhD at that point of time, and I remember me and one of my professor from community medicine department, we were going around many colleges in Coimbatore to give educational awareness about the COVID-19. So that was a time when we realized that there were very few work which was going on the vaccine research and development. And in January, I remember that the government of India started January 2021. We started the vaccination program in our country. And at first, we started with Covishield, and then slowly we introduced Covaxin, and now we have introduced Sputnik V also. So, as ma'am told, there are many viral platforms under which the vaccines are being manufactured. One is the whole virus vaccine platform. Second is the viral vector platform, where a vector similar to the structure of the virus is genetically engineered and modified, and it has been used to produce the vaccine. Third is you have the genetic platforms where the DNA and the RNA of the vaccine virus is removed, and it is again recombined and genetically engineered and made to produce a vaccine. And then we have the protein subunit vaccine, where, for example, you take the glycoprotein, spike glycoprotein of the virus, and you make the vaccine. So among all these vaccines, currently in our country today, we have the licensed approved vaccines are only 3 as of today. One is Covishield, second is Covaxin, and third is Sputnik V. So Covishield, you all know that the actual virus strain was isolated by the Oxford University in UK, and the patent rights was then obtained by the Serum Institute of India, Pune, and then the Covishield was manufactured in our country, and that was the first vaccine which came into our country. And this vaccine is basically a viral adenovector. Basically, what it means is a chimpanzee adenovirus. Adenovirus is a virus which produces URI in upper respiratory infections in adults. So that adenovirus is taken, that infecting property or the replicating property of the virus is removed, and then the virus will be engineered or grown in HEK, human embryonic kidney cells. And then the spike glycoprotein, which is isolated from the COVID coronavirus, will be introduced into that vector, and then that will be injected and given to the persons. So that is a Covishield vaccine, which 0.5 ml, which is given intramuscular deltoid. Initially, the vaccine was given at a gap interval of 4 weeks, if you can remember. And then in March, the government told that from 4 weeks, we are extending to 8 weeks. And then in May, they told it is extended to 12 weeks. The reason for extending up to 12 weeks is not because of vaccine shortage. Please remember that it is not because of vaccine shortage. The reason for extending the interval is based on the global literature which is obtained from the UK. We follow guidelines somewhat similar to the UK MRHA guidelines. So guidelines there and scientific evidence from there suggested that when you increase the dosage of the Covishield, your efficacy improves from 65% to 85%. So that is the reason the NEGVAC committee was constituted, and the NEGVAC committee actually gave the recommendations to the government, and the government then finally approved it to increase the interval to 12 weeks. So now Covishield can be given after 4 weeks, before 12 weeks. Doesn't mean that you have to wait till 12 weeks. You can also take it after 4 weeks, but preferably if you can extend up to 12 weeks, your immune response or your efficacy is going to get improved from 65 to 85. Then we have the Covaxin, which is an indigenous vaccine, which is an inactivated vaccine, which is produced in our country. For Covaxin, what ICMR did was, ICMR has an institute in Pune called National Institute of Virology, where they isolated the strain called the NIV 2020770, the strain name, which they isolated and gave it to Bharat Biotech Hyderabad. And Bharat Biotech then finally manufactured this vaccine. This is an inactivated vaccine. The beauty of this vaccine is it has got a specialized adjuvant called as imidazopinolone, that is L-hydroxycube, which is basically a toll-like receptor 7/8 agonist. So when you give that adjuvant along with the vaccine, it improves your type 2 helper cell immune response. Okay, so usually in most of the vaccines you get a Th1 response, but with Covaxin, with that L-hydroxycube adjuvant, you get a better type helper 2 response, which also decreases the vaccine associated side effects like VAERT. So that is Covaxin. It is again given 0.5 ml intramuscular 4 weeks apart. Then we have this Sputnik V vaccine. Sputnik V vaccine was, the strain was isolated from Gamaleya Institute of Russia. Then doctors Reddy Laboratories got the rights, patent rights, and they have imported vaccine, and now they have started giving it in Hyderabad. So Hyderabad was the first state to start giving the vaccine. And some other cities have also started the pilot projecting of Sputnik V. It is also a viral vector vaccine where an adenovirus vector platform is being used. So the beauty of Sputnik V is again 2-dose vaccine intramuscular. It basically has 2 adenoviral vector. The first dose has a separate adenoviral vector called serotype 26, and the second dose has got a separate adenoviral vector serotype 5, and it is given at an interval of 3 weeks. And they claim the efficacy of Sputnik to be 95%, which we have to wait and see, because it's now only very few doses have been administered so far in the country. Covaxin efficacy is claiming to be 85%, 81 to 85, and Covishield between 65 to 71%. These are the vaccines which are approved till now. Now, so there are certain vaccines which are in the pipeline, which will be getting the approval in a short time. And the first to get will be ZyCoV-D, as Jaisudha ma'am's PPT would have seen. ZyCoV-D will, if it gets approval, it will be the world's first DNA vaccine. In the world, we have RNA vaccines, but ZyCoV-D will be the first DNA vaccine. Basically, it uses a plasmid. Plasmid is basically an extra chromosomal DNA which can replicate on its own. So they genetically engineered that plasmid. They have introduced that spike glycoprotein gene, and then they will use it to give the vaccine. The beauty of ZyCoV-D is it is again an indigenous vaccine which is produced in Ahmedabad. Second, it will be given through a non-needle vaccine injector. So basically, it is like a spring-powered vaccine delivery system where you keep it and it will inject a limited quantity of doses directly into the skin. So probably it would be like an intradermal vaccine, ZyCoV-D, and they have done trials in pediatrics as well, and they have submitted their application to CDSCO. We hope they will also be getting the approval soon. The next in the pipeline is Corbevax. Okay, Corbevax is basically a vaccine which is produced by Biological E of Hyderabad, along with an American institute. So they are collaborating and producing this vaccine. It is basically a protein subunit vaccine. And then we have Covovax, which is the second vaccine which is under trial by Serum Institute of India. It is similar to Novavax of the USA. So these are all the vaccines in the pipeline. The other vaccines which are in the world currently are Pfizer, Moderna. Pfizer is an mRNA vaccine, and Moderna is also an mRNA vaccine. We also have Sinopharm and Sinovac from the countries of China. And these are all the vaccines which you have. Pfizer claims an efficacy of 95 and Moderna claims an efficacy of 94%. So this is a small introduction about the types of vaccines which we have in India as well as in the world. Over to you. Ma'am, I can't hear you. Hello, ma'am.
Dr. Vijayalakshmi, please unmute.
Well said, Dr. Arun. The informations were very pretty clear regarding the different types of vaccine, and you very nicely elaborated about the 4 types of vaccine, like whole protein vaccine as well as protein subunit and RNA, DNA, nucleic acid vaccine as well as the virus vector. Very clearly explained. And also you told about the existing vaccine like Covaxin and Covishield. That is one of the biggest doubt in everyone's mind. Like, shall I go for Covishield or Covaxin? But you made it very clear the efficacy of the Covishield is only 65% and Covaxin is 85%. Even there are people have with the both the vaccination has come and said the side effects are more in Covishield and side effects are less in Covaxin. Do you mean to say let us prefer Covaxin instead of Covishield?
Absolutely no, I differ from that, because when we tell about the side effects, it is too early to comment about which vaccine is best, whether it is Covaxin or Covishield. Each vaccine has its own advantages. I'll tell you. Covishield is the one which was first introduced in our country, and even if you take our immunization record from January to July, Covishield has been administered more than 90% of the doses, followed by Covaxin, and then followed by Sputnik. Sputnik V is just about 0.5 to 1%. So compared to the number of doses which we have administered, any vaccine is going to generate an immune response. And if you generate an immune response, you are going to get some or the few side effects. Like, for example, if you give a DPT vaccine to a child, the child is going to get fever. That is why when a child gets a DPT vaccine, the sister or the nurse who is administering the vaccine will also give paracetamol syrup or paracetamol tablet to the mother, telling that the child will develop fever maybe today night or tomorrow morning. Give this dose of paracetamol. The same happens with the adult vaccine, because the vaccine is generating an immune response. So whenever there is an immune response, there is cytokines which is released, and that will cause fever and body pain, and you are about to expect some mild side effects. So at this point, I will take both. I will say that both the vaccines are equally effective, and you can take whatever vaccine is available at your place. Ma'am, can you unmute me?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Arun. Well said about the information regarding the vaccination. And next, I would like to throw a question to Dr. Kavita. Like Dr. Kavita, that so very good explanation was given by Dr. Arun regarding the vaccination. So if at all the people get vaccinated, whether they will be reinfected with the coronavirus, or some people even die after the vaccination due to coronavirus disease. Why is this happening if the vaccine is very much effective? Why the people have to get again coronavirus disease, or with the coronavirus disease, why they have to die even after the vaccination? Can you highlight on this?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm really very happy to be in this EduRai platform. To begin with, we can say that the vaccine programs are mainly administered to our immune system, is to help to recognize the virus which enters the body and helps it, and to fight it before it infects and stops its power to duplicate it fast. So what this vaccine will do, it makes neutralizing the antibodies and prevents the infection. So immunity after vaccine fully develops 2 weeks after and the second dose. Therefore, the people could get sick before that it is achieved. So normally it is being said that the first dose also confers a degree of the immunity, so which has been estimated approximately, as Dr. Arun sir said, 65% at the 3 weeks in the case of Covishield and 85% in case of Covaxin. So even if someone catches the infection after getting the vaccinated, the antibodies will sure fight it and help the patient to recover at the earliest. So the risk of dying following the vaccination, we can say it is negligible when compared to the risk of dying due to COVID-19. So as already to quote with Dr. Arun sir said, we have to take whatever the vaccine is made available first, and it is important to be vaccinated as soon as possible. To say that the truth is that the vaccine does not cause to death. That is what I just want to say over to the of this platform. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, Dr. Kavita, like you mean to say vaccination is really effective, and two things we have to follow, that once after the vaccination we have to wait for the period of time as stipulated by the government that the antibodies are prepared. Even then the antibodies are prepared, there is a tendency for the people to go in for COVID because the efficacy is 85% or 65%, but still after the vaccination, if the people are infected, their survival rate is higher, as well as the disease manifestation also is less compared to the person who is not vaccinated. So the severity is going to be more for the people who are not vaccinated, whereas vaccinated people has the less severity. That is the very clear highlight has been given by Dr. Kavita. Thank you, Dr. Kavita, for the valuable information. So like another important thing, like I can say this is a myth or sometimes information which has to be given. Like people sometimes they say, I socially isolate myself within the home. I never go out because this coronavirus spread person to person, and we should have a minimum of this many meters distance. Within that only the coronavirus is affected. And if at all, I maintain a social isolation within my home. I am staying. I never go out. I sincerely pray God that I should not get coronavirus. I'm very religious person, as well as I do not. I'm not a lazy person. I do a regular workouts for all that. And if I do all this, why should I go for a vaccination? I don't want to go for a vaccination because I have a stamina, I have a strength, I'm a rich, I am affordable, I have all the things, preventive measures within me. I don't want to go for a vaccination. So this question can be thrown to Dr. Subramaniam to give you valuable information on this particular aspect.
Thank you very much, Dr. S. Vijayalakshmi. I appreciate PSG Nursing for coming forward with a wonderful topic for giving an awareness on the vaccine myth and miracle. As Madam was asking me the question, whether prayers can help us, a healthy lifestyle, diet, or staying isolated can help us. I can remember we are all known for it, right? This one thing I can say to begin with, the vaccine is a purely an equalizer, right? It doesn't discriminate people like human beings, right? It likes everybody. It loves everybody. You may be rich or poor or tall or short or healthy, or it likes and it loves everybody. So that's first understanding we have to have it. If you're a human, you are vulnerable to it. That's first understanding. Second point, I say that you do a regular exercise. It's good to do it, no doubt about it. It keeps you healthy, no doubt about it. But this is a new variant of a virus, which requires a special immunity in addition to what you do. Continue doing your exercise, continue being fit, continue doing increasing your immunity. But this is one proven solution, right? It is one proven solution, right? And your faith in God, right? Your faith in God is appreciated, and it is a proven faith. What I'm saying here is a proven faith which is tested and it put to test by science and humans, and a lot of people initiated it. I still remember we were discussing about when we'll get a vaccine, and now we got a vaccine, right? It's something like God sent a message, right? You are religious, appreciate it, keep praying it, and keep praying for everybody. And as you know that somebody is stuck in the water and God sent somebody, I'm here to help you. And no, God is coming. And the other fellow comes and says that I'm a chopper pilot, I want to help you. No, God is coming. And the third fellow, a swimmer, come and says that a fisherman, come on, let me help you. No, God is coming. And you lose your life. And finally you go and meet a God and say that, God, you lost, you didn't help me. I said 3 times I gave you an option, sir. So we have 3 options now, right? Either Covishield or Covaxin or Sputnik at present. So and God is going to give you the 4th one, as Dr. Arun says that Zydeco is coming and Moderna is coming. So many people are coming out with the wonderful stuff. So God is sending all the messages to you. But let me tell you, my dear friends, we are vulnerable to it. Vaccine is the one and only way to keep ourselves safe. And it's a proven faith and it's a proven belief. So you may be rich, but still you are vulnerable. You may be fit, you may be vulnerable. You may be poor, still you are vulnerable. You say isolated. I'll tell you, it's a very dangerous one to be always in indoor. We need to be outside. There is a special statistics which is coming out. The vitamin D is getting lost. The sunlight is not part of our body, and a lot of diseases are coming because of that. I'll tell you, my dear friends, as Sigmund Freud says, we are all social animals. We should come out and to live in a better, healthy, mentally, psychologically, a better life, right? So being a social animal, you want to be outdoor, vaccine is the way out, man. So I strongly say that no matter who you are, you're rich or poor or powerful, even you would have heard great ministers and the prime ministers, presidents were being affected. The New Zealand first lady was affected, and people said, oh my God, what happened to Canadian first lady? No matter what, please take care. It is all the myth. You have to break it and come forward and use the opportunity. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Well said. Oh, we all thought if you pray well, we will be out of coronavirus. But you said because of your prayer only, the God has sent the vaccination and make sure that we are not affected or less signs and symptoms will be exhibited. Well said, sir. Well said. Thank you. Thank you for this valuable information. Next question to our Dr. Jayashree. Madam, like after vaccination, the people around that were started telling only we have to go for the allopathic drug after the vaccination. We should not go for any alternative medicines. Is it so? If at all any people who have already been with homeopathic medicines or any other Siddha, Unani, if they are taking for any other chronic disease, whether they can go for, or even with the side effect to solve, when people are going with the paracetamol instead, or do you have any other alternative medicines for that? Kindly clarify our doubts.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very grateful to be part of this event, and I wish the PSD has taken a good hand, and this program is so successful also. And I'm coming to your question. In our society, there are so many myths. One among them is that vaccination is being allopathic. Only allopathic drugs are to be taken after vaccination. It is not true. There are so many people who follow alternative medicine. After vaccination, does not mean that they are supposed to rely or lean on paracetamol, etc. for headache, body pain, and fever. They being follower of alternative system of medicine, they can continue their previous drugs of choice. For example, in homeopathy, we have a special drug, and specifically we prescribe for the bad effects of vaccination, and it is being successful too. There is no scientific proof that only allopathic drugs are to be taken after vaccination. Thus, I pledge it as a myth. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the strong determination that alternative medicines can also be used after the vaccination. So the people who are continuing using the alternative medicines can show the positive sign after hearing this particular information. Back to Dr. Kavita. Kavita, you were saying regarding the efficacy of the drug, like the antibodies need to be developed after first dose as well as the second dose. Like there is one other information. I was not vaccinated previously, but now I got coronavirus disease. Currently, I am having the diagnosis to have COVID as well, or I suspected to have COVID with all CT scan report. Shall I go for vaccination?
Ma'am, over to your question. So, the person who is suspected or confirmed with the COVID-19 infection may increase the risk of spreading of COVID-19 to others at each and every places. For this reason, the infected individuals or the suspected individual can defer the vaccination for 14 days after the symptoms resolution. So those people can take their first vaccine 14 to 28 days after the recovery from the COVID-19. So the person who received the first dose and gets infection may still get the second dose after its recovery also. The main thing is the time period to be maintained. And it is advisable that to receive the complete schedule of COVID vaccine irrespective of the past history of infection of COVID-19. So this will help in developing a strong immune response against the disease and defend itself in the event of virus attack in the future. In the cases, if both the doses are given, people will ask a question that, oh, even though I have taken both the doses, I got infected. Yes, the people may still get infected even in some cases. So after the vaccination, if one gets infection, then it is called as a vaccination breakthrough infection, but it will manifest as a mild disease and even remain asymptomatic only. So the risk of severity of the disease and death will be greatly reduced even if we are infected also. So even after the full vaccination is taken, the mild infection could occur, and that is why the people are advised to continue to follow the pandemic precautions like the mask should be weighed properly and avoiding the crowding places, avoid badly ventilated and closed places, washing their hands frequently, do not touch their mouths. These actions, we can slow down and eventually stop the spread of the virus. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Kavita. Thank you for this information. The next question is to Dr. Subramaniam. Like our Dr. Arun said, like when he was discussing about the 4 different types of vaccine, one part of the vaccine is like from DNA, we are just changing and replicating and we are making the vaccine and good. So if you administer that type of vaccine, do our DNA programming will change?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, madam. Actually, vaccines cannot reprogram the DNA. They can only give information. That is the first understanding we should have it. If you ask me whether we can hack a DNA, yes, we can hack a DNA. We work on the stem cell DNA re-engineering is all happening. But as of the vaccine at present, what it is administered across the world, it cannot. It has been designed in such a way it cannot reprogramming the DNA. They can only give information. This is a very clear understanding people should have. And how it works, it teaches your body. It actually gives instruction. It gives information. It teaches your body how to make a protein to give an immunity booster, right? It boosts your immunity, right? And to say about the DNA reprogramming, there was a big studies which is going on across the world. We all know that bioengineering, DNA re-engineering, all these concepts. Scientists are successful to an extent, but when you put into a percentage of understanding, some more than the scientific percentage of success, it has been found that there is a 13% extra. It has been proved that it is astonishing experiment. I can say that scientists has discovered that human body DNA can be best reprogrammed by human speech. I repeat, more than a biological DNA, it can be reprogrammed by a human speech. So human speech result of reprogramming is more than this. So when you keep saying that your vaccine is going to kill you, that is going to reprogram you, right? That is going to put you in a trouble, right? I'm not speaking my words. It's a proven statements which I'm speaking here. So what I'm saying is, it is not created to disturb a human being. A vaccine is being created to give a shield, right? It is given an opportunity, a second chance for us to come out of this pandemic. I'll tell you, my dear friends, it is not going to disturb your DNA. If you ask me, so many things are there to think about it. Our fast food has to be thought about it. Our thinking pattern has to be thought about the DNA. That's a different discussion. As of the vaccine is concerned, it is not going to reprogram your DNA. It is just going to give you instruction to fight and improve your immunity. That's it about it, ma'am. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. When you just talk about this boosting up our psychological way and whatever we think accordingly, the DNA will act. So likely I would like to remember one important information, like one patient was admitted in the hospital. And that time he was just seeing the windows and telling, sister, he was pointing out to one of the nursing personnel and said, sister, like all the leaves in the trees are just falling. You see, when the last leaf was fallen, I will die. So the sister said, okay, you will also never die. Actually, that person will has a serious illness and also his death is on the countdown days. And she says, even the last leaf in the tree will not fall, as well as you will also be healthy. So soon after, the next day, the man was saying, the last leaf is still there. And next day he saw a new leaf and he got a very enthusiastic information on that particular aspect. And the final day when the discharge has come, the nurse was jokingly said, "Sir, I just went and made one person to make one of the plastic leaves stuck in that particular tree and see that it never falls." So like I remember the information what you say, it boosts up our energy, positively thinking, and whatever we think positively, what we firmly think, accordingly our body acts. That is the fine information what you have given us, sir. Thank you for the information. And back to Dr. Arun. Like you said, very scientific information regarding the vaccine, but still people have certain things like especially Vivek, actor who died the day after the vaccination, they say because of the vaccination only Vivek died. As well as many people say, I have this particular disease, especially cardiovascular disease, people should not go in for vaccination. And even when people have come to our college for vaccination, they were telling, if you are planning your pregnancy or in a family way, don't come for vaccination. So like that, so many informations were there. So now it's time for us to answer who all can go for vaccination and who all should not go for a vaccination. Is there any indication or contraindication for the vaccination? Over to you,
yes,
sir.
ma'am. So it is again a very nice question from you. First, I'll tell you who should not take the vaccine so that we can understand who all can take the vaccine. So who all should not take the vaccine? First and the most common contraindication we give to the people is any patient or any person who has developed a severe allergic reaction following the first dose of vaccine. Let us say I am going to get the vaccine today, I develop a severe allergic reaction. There are two things to look into it. If I develop a severe allergic reaction and if I get admitted to a hospital because of that allergic reaction, then I should not take the second dose. But if I develop a severe allergic reaction with simple OPD treatment, I get resolved, then I can go ahead and take the vaccine if my allergy is controlled. So any allergy or any severe anaphylaxis which compels or which puts an indication for admission in hospital, definitely it is a contraindication for the second dose of vaccination. Second, any person who is having an active COVID-19 infection. I might be having an active infection, fever, cough or cold, and I have tested RT-PCR for COVID-19 positive and I am admitted in hospital. Definitely I am not going to take a vaccine. So when can a COVID-19 recovered person take a vaccine? The guidelines have changed. So now it is 3 months following the recovery. So let us say if I am recovered today, from the date of recovery, 3 months later only I can take the dose of the vaccine. So these are the two active and the very important contraindication. That means that now we have a very important lot that many of them can get the vaccine. First, if you are a healthcare worker, you have to get the vaccine. If you are a frontline worker, you have to get the vaccine. If you are a person above 60 years with comorbidity, that means very common diabetes under control, please get the vaccine. Hypertension under control, please get the vaccine. If you are an asthmatic or if you are having a COPD, if you are in control, please go ahead and get the vaccine. Then you have the HIV, TB, that immunodeficiency states. Let us say if I am a TB patient, I am taking anti-tuberculosis drug. Yes, I can go ahead and take the vaccine. But if I am a newly diagnosed tuberculosis, that is only today only I got tested and I found to be positive, that means that you have to wait 14 days. So if I am tested positive for tuberculosis, today I will take the anti-TB drugs. 14 days later, I can go ahead and take the COVID-19 vaccine. If I am a cancer patient, let us say any cancer, breast cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, GI cancer, any cancer, they can go ahead and take the vaccine. The only thing the guideline says that is the immune response may be delayed. That doesn't mean that it will not happen because they are already in an immunodeficient state. So their immune response might be little delayed than a normal adult, but still they can go ahead and take the vaccine. So these are all the common indications and contraindications. Now the government has told that even lactating mothers who are breastfeeding the children can take the vaccine. Last week, we have released the guidelines. Pregnant women can also go ahead and take the vaccine, but we are waiting for the actual guidelines for pregnancy. in which trimester to give. Those all expertal guidelines will be released shortly. So we are also waiting for that. But as of now, pregnant females, lactating mothers, diabetics, hypertensives, asthmatics, cancer, TB, HIV, everybody can go and take the vaccine unless they don't have a contraindication, which I have mentioned before. So, second question is the reason for Vivek's actor Vivek's death, which had happened following vaccination. Unfortunately, we also felt very sad for his death because he's one of the best actors which we had produced in our industry. But stating that putting a blame on the vaccine is always not true. Because we do something called as causality assessment. So whenever an AEFI, so all these are called AEFI, any adverse event which occurs after vaccination, and if it occurs within 28 days following either first dose or second dose, has to be reported to the district or the state or the national level. So that is how his death also got reported. We went through his documents at the state level, we went through the documents at the national level, and because it is a public platform, I'm not supposed to share many of his personal details, but I can definitely tell from the causality assessment which we have seen through his death is definitely not due to the vaccine, and it is due to other factors, other health factors which had led to the unfortunate death of. So that is how the vaccine hesitancy topic comes into the picture, where vaccine hesitancy basically means that in simple terms, if I want to say that vaccine is available, but people are refusing to take it, or either they are not accepting to take it, but the vaccine is available. So what all the factors lead to vaccine hesitancy, how to address this is a big topic to discuss. But in a short, I can tell you that to address vaccine hesitancy, communication has to be very clear. What all vaccines are available, what type of vaccine, what side effects this vaccine will cause, and what will happen to you. All these important information should be delivered. Like, for example, we had one vaccine hesitancy case from one of the religious backgrounds in one of the states, where they told that Covishield is produced from human embryonic kidney cells, which is are not under our religious service. So we we clearly gave them the information that, in 1970s and 1965s, in Netherlands, where there was an abortion which took place, and from that aborted fetus, they had isolated these cells, the human embryonic kidney cell, and the beauty of those cells is they self-replicate. They can undergo replication. So that doesn't mean that each and every time when there is an abortion, the cells from the fetuses are extracted and given for clinical studies. It's not true. Second most important thing, why human cells are used for research is because if you take animal cells for research, like for example in 1960s, they had taken monkey kidney cells for poliovirus vaccine. But unfortunately, what happened, that kidney cell of the monkey contained a simian virus simian virus infection, and all the people who got the vaccine developed simian virus infections. So the animal kidney cells have a problem that they have some RNA or the DNA of a virus in their genetic platforms of their cell, and once if they are taken out and not properly engineered, then that becomes a risk for the humans. So the scientists they decided that to have a safe platform, because human embryo is not exposed to many infections, so it is almost safe, and that is why they had taken the cells in that phase of time, but not nowadays. So in that kind of sense, I want to convey the message that to address vaccine hesitancy, you have to convey your message and you have to communicate clearly. Otherwise, this kind of pattern will keep on repeating. Over.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you. So you have very clearly said what are the indications and what are the contraindications. Still one more question to make it very clear to Dr. Jayashree ma'am, whether vaccine will make you sterile. Like, will vaccine make the people sterile? So that is the information to be given. Please kindly.
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Dr. Arun has given a clear picture who all can take vaccine. Okay, the public can understand. I think they hope they understand well. And coming to your question, facing this myth who is facing this myth. People, those who are in the reproductive age are facing this myth. I have come across many individuals who raise a question about, can we plan a child after vaccination? And that they have heard that vaccine shall affect female and male fertility. The CDC, that is Center for Disease Control, states the vaccine are tested on animals and humans for the specific medical query, and that there is no scientific proof or enough subject evidence for infertility caused only due to vaccine. That's what I wanted to say here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Ma'am, one more question regarding the same aspect. Whether alcoholics, smokers, junk food eaters, whether they can have the vaccination?
Yeah. Let's go with alcoholics first. I share my experience here. Recently, I met a patient. He said, "Doctor, my wife is not allowing me to drink alcohol." I said, "What's wrong in that?" He said, "No, we are using alcohol mixed sanitizer, which kill the virus. So why can't I have alcohol?" Why I came to say this, people are not well educated about this. They should prevent alcohol before and after vaccination for weeks together. And smoking is similar to it, because smoking directly injured the lungs as well as corona too. And about the junk food, it is not true junk food eaters are not allowed for vaccination. If so, they will lose the sole reason for vaccination, that is immunity. So eat healthy and be healthy. The entire world is under pandemic. There is no use of pleading people, please don't drink alcohol, don't drink, eat junk food and don't smoke and all. It is time to be very strict and hard. They should not take before vaccination and after vaccination. They should follow all the rules, whatever ICMR has quoted. It is, and you should tell them, we should tell them that your habits are going to kill you. So it's better to be harsh than losing their lives. It's very short.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Even I wish to ask whether breastfeeding women can go for vaccination, but that has been well said by Dr. Arun. Yeah, breastfeeding women can go for the vaccination. So I just thought that the information has been.
Yes. Yeah, he had given a very brief answer. So it's very clear now. Thank you.
Next to Dr. G. Subramaniam, sir, there are vegetarian and non-vegetarian people, and now also the one important question is whether this COVID-19 vaccine are halal. So kindly throw some lights on this.
That's interesting, actually. Dr. Arun was speaking about his personal experience also with whether it is from a human kidney cells which is being generated or not. As Madam was asking whether it's a halal, right? Friends, I can say that if this question is disturbing you, I can say that it is even approved by in a medical symposium of an Islamic symposium, where it was put into a paper was published, and they were all debating it, and finally came to a conclusion. Shahari law, S-H-A-R-A, Shaharia law, the law which is being governed by based on the Quran, which clearly states that this under this law, it doesn't contain any animal products of any kind. So it is absolutely no problem at all. Any caste, religion can subject it to have it, right? So even there is a symposium which is organized by Medical Fig Symposium. It is a community which comes forward to work on the guidelines of Quran. They gave an approval. So now it is taken even by the people who frame this law. So I strongly suggest, if you put it, yes, you can go ahead, no matter whatever be your religion or a caste. As rightly been said, it is your choice to live a better life, right? We use always take a choice, right? A choice are made with lots of courage, and here it is a proven. Again, I'm saying it's a tested and proven concept which is given here. So don't put all your reasons, right? If you don't want to do, you will put all the reasons in the world to say that I'm not ready to do it. It is not a reason. And if you also have this halal as a reason, the community which is framing the law has approved it. You can go ahead and have it, ma'am. No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Very informative, sir. And next question to Dr. Kavita. Like after vaccination, can we donate plasma or blood for others? So what about your ideas on this particular, Dr. Kavita?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, very much audible, Kavita.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you. So around 4 weeks after the recovery, when the antibody level is at its peak, doctors suggest that the patients to go for the plasma donation. So if their antibody level is adequate, they can donate as many times as possible. So there are no side effects. But however, after getting vaccinated, they cannot donate plasma. So at this time, individuals who have received the COVID-19 vaccine are not able to donate their plasma. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yeah. Thank you, Kavita. Thank you. Thank you for the information. So next, back to Dr. Jayashree. Like, ma'am, we are discussing about what are the indication and contraindications. So though we know all that, it is necessary that any preliminary investigation need to be done before going for a vaccination? If so, what are they?
Yeah, it's a nice question, moderator. It is a very common people ask, am I eligible for vaccination? That can be found test. But the fact is that it is not mandatory to everyone should go for a test prior to the vaccination. Unless otherwise your physician feels like go for a test for safety measurements like CRP, that is C-reactive protein test, and RT-PCR in case you are found positive. After 90 days, you can go for vaccination.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So wonderful information. The last question, and but not least question, this is a very, very important question which has to be thrown to Dr. Arun. Dr. Arun, like we were heard about this coronavirus, the mutation process, the alpha virus, beta virus, delta virus. Now we are just about to face this delta plus variant virus. And some of the studies says that this delta plus variant virus will evade all the immunity which has been gained by the people who have got previous infection immunity or the immunity which is gained through vaccination, and this is going to be terrible. Then what is the point of going for vaccination? And also have one more question. You please answer this. We'll go to the next.
Yes, ma'am. For that, first we need to understand the variants. I'll take a few minutes to explain that. The first variant which we isolated was the alpha variant, which was isolated from United Kingdom, which was I think B1.1.7. Then we had the beta variant, which was isolated from Japan, which is B, and South Africa also, B1.3.5.1. And then we had the Zeta variant, B2 from Brazil. And also we had the Delta variant, which was first isolated in our country, the B1.651.2. That was the Delta, and 0.2.1 was the Delta plus. So one thing we need to understand is that the vaccines which we have, Covishield, Covaxin, Pfizer, and the Moderna and Sputnik. So these vaccines, we have the global literature which has been published for looking on the neutralizing effect of the antibodies and how the vaccine variant, how the vaccine is working, and how the neutralizing antibodies are working against this. So what they found that was the Covaxin and the Covishield, they produced only a 2% and a 3% decrease in the neutralizing antibody response. Whereas they found that Pfizer, BioNTech and Moderna vaccine produced a 7% decrease in the neutralizing antibody response. So there is a difference in the neutralizing antibody response after the giving the vaccine for these variants. Because the problem is that these variants, they keep on undergoing mutation. Why the Delta variant gathered so much of limelight was because it had a capability to adhere more to your lung ACE2 receptor cells, At the same time, it was also able to evade the monoclonal antibody response. But from the studies published globally worldwide, I can conclude that Covaxin and Covishield are safe against the Delta variant. But for the Delta plus variant, where the studies are going on in our country, even the government of India has constituted, which is Indian SARS-CoV-2 Consortium of Genomics laboratories, which are 10 laboratories which are situated all over the country. We have also one INSACOG lab in Tamil Nadu as well. So what these labs do is basically they take the samples from the infected person, they look for the genomic of that particular virus, and they will culture it and grow it, and then they will test for the antibody vaccine response and the antibody response. So in that way, they have done studies only till the Delta variant. For the Delta plus, studies are going on, and once it is published, only we will be able to know whether the efficacy is actually good or not against the Delta plus. But for the Delta variant, it is safe, both Covishield and Covaxin. And remember, Delta plus is there only in localized places in our country so far. The top is Maharashtra, followed by Tamil Nadu, and followed by, I think, Madhya Pradesh and Kerala. So rest of the states are free from Delta plus so far. So let us, and at the same time, it is also present in 80 countries. So research is also going on in those countries as well. So only when the studies are out, we will be able to tell the actual efficacy towards that. But as for alpha variant, beta and delta variant is concerned, the vaccines are absolutely safe.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So vaccine is safe, but at least for the mutation which is going to come in the future, let us not worry about it. Now we have to live a life which is very safe. Let us go for it. That is your final statement. Is it, no, Dr. Arun?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Then, like one more thing I would like to say, this is out of the questions, like one video which has gone very viral regarding the Luc Montagnier, who is the Nobel laureate and who is the discoverer of AIDS virus. He has said whoever has vaccinated, whichever type of the vaccination it is, they all will die within 2 years. This has become a very viral about the virus in the YouTube. Can you throw some of the important light on it, sir?
I don't know in which context he has mentioned that, ma'am, because even we were also, we also saw that video, and I think the whole world is also astonished by the kind of words he had used in that video. But I can definitely state from the whatever resources we have, whenever you have a doubt regarding any vaccination program in any part of the world you are in, always refer to the trusted, noteworthy sources. The trusted noteworthy sources include, for example, in India, I can say Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Every day the site is updated, whether it is vaccination, whether it is the number of doses which is given, whether it is the new guidelines which have been released, whether it is a causality assessment which we do for the adverse events which are being reported. Everything is uploaded in the ministry website. So whenever you have a doubt, please take your time. Instead of Googling many other things, you can also Google the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and you can also be updated. Second, you can also visit our ICMR website. Again, one of the best noteworthy sites. Whatever research, whatever updates on the vaccine is going on, it is posted in the website. Third is the World Health Organization website. And then I can also name a few like the CDC of USA, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Everything is a very important, noteworthy websites. And I think if you can go through those websites, you will be very clear that almost whatever vaccines which we have produced so far is equally good and safe. So I would like to conclude that is, if you have an opportunity to get the vaccine at your nearest primary health center or the nearest hospital, kindly go ahead and vaccinate yourself, because this is a golden opportunity. The central government has procured 75% of the procurement from the manufacturers, and all the vaccines are being given free of cost to all the individuals above 18 and above at government vaccination centers. So if you get the opportunity, I would say please go ahead, register yourself in COVID and get vaccine as early as possible.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So it has been very clearly said, vaccination is vital, vaccination is important, and without vaccination, we are losing something. And until everyone is vaccinated, it is very difficult to control the disease, and the spread, even vaccinated people will affect it because of the people who are not vaccinated. Let us leave about all the Delta plus variant as well as the mutation process which is going on and other confusions. And this platform has made very clear the vaccine is safe. This platform has made very, very informative informations that the doubts regarding the various aspects, who can vaccinate, who cannot vaccinate, what are the indications, what are the contraindication, and how this vaccine works out, and how this vaccine makes the people success, and because of that, how the death rate is coming out, and even the people affected has minimum signs and symptoms because of this vaccination, and the antibodies are well developed in their body, and making sure the people are not affected to the maximum extent as that of the people who are not vaccinated. So many information has been thrown. So it is a time remaining. We do have 8 minutes more to end up our panel discussion. Now we'll see the chat box. If at all any questions need to be addressed, we'll just go to the public view questions which we can face. So over to Dr. Jayasudha ma'am, please give us some questions which is there in the chat box, or Mrs. Purnima can throw the questions to us.
Yes, Dr. Vijayalakshmi. What about two different type of vaccinations? Can it be given to the people, like mix and match vaccine? Is it advisable?
As of today, the guideline says that there is no mixing of vaccines, but research is going on in the field. A lot of research is going on abroad regarding mixing of two vaccines, where a group of volunteers are given Pfizer vaccine as the first dose and Covishield AstraZeneca vaccine as the second dose, or Pfizer first dose and Moderna second dose. Studies are going on, but as of now, till day, there is no guidelines in our country for mixing of vaccines. So don't be of the impression that you can take Covishield first dose, Covaxin second dose. If you have taken Covishield first dose, complete with Covishield. If you have taken Covaxin first dose, you have to complete with Covaxin.
The other myth is the vaccine is being invented in very short period of time. What is the assurance that it does not have long-term complications?
The question itself is a question whenever we are living in the present. So we have to go to the future to know what it is going to be. If at all, the other way around, if there is no complications, there is no necessity of this question at all. So we have to wait and see what is going to happen in the future.
The other question is, when this pandemic will be over, how long will go like this, the present situation? It's a difficult question, we knew, but so many waves are expected. Millions of people gathered in Beijing yesterday, in China, there without a mask. So in this, I can say that even Israel has said in June 15th, without mask, they were doing it. Again, the people are infected with the Delta virus. So again, they have started imposing to wear a mask. So I'm sure like even in China, they will come out with wearing a mask. So what about you, Dr. Arun? What is the answer for this? When this pandemic will be over? How long will go like this present situation?
That answer even WHO cannot answer for that question, because it is a question which no one can answer, because we never expected a second wave and we got a second wave. So now we are predicting a third wave. We don't know whether it will happen or not, but mathematical model tells it will happen, but at a very less severity than the second wave. So what I can say is only if more than 60 to 70% of the population is vaccinated, and when we achieve that herd immunity, then we can say that the epidemic curve or the pandemic curve will start to decline. So until that, it is very difficult to predict. Even the models, many of the models which we have predicted in the future have all failed. So we have to wait and watch. So getting the vaccine is the priority, will be the priority first.
Any difference in components of vaccine given for people above 45 years and less than 45 years?
Dr. Jaisudha, before going into that question, you asked me when it is going to end.
Yes, Dr. Subramanian.
Yes, to add on to what Dr. Arun has rightly said, nobody knows. But I just give you a historical reference, being from our field. From the day one, that is on 18th century onwards, whatever the pandemic which has come, there is a literature called pandemic literature. As a professor of literature, I'm saying there is a literature called pandemic literature. Whatever we have done it, they have done it. According to that literature study, we had a conference also on pandemic literature, and we found from that it's a historical database. As rightly said by Dr. Vijayalakshmi, you have to wait for the future the answer to be given. It says that the pandemic runs for 4 to 5 years. So it is according to the pandemic literature study which I'm sharing with you. That's a historical database. I don't know about this particular one. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Subramanian, sir. And is there any difference in components of vaccine given for people above 45 years and less than 45 years?
Definitely no, ma'am. The components which that is the components are the same. The Covishield, which is manufactured from Serum Institute of India, is given the same to all over the country, and the same applies to Covaxin and Sputnik. The components cannot change.
Okay, one more question, doctor. Diagnosed with arthritis and taking a tablet diclofenac, or the people with the neurological disorders, can they take vaccine?
Yes.
Is a Covishield can be taken after the anti-rabies vaccine?
Yes. In fact, there was a guidelines which is released. Rabies is a life-saving vaccine, because if there is a dog bite, definitely you have to give the vaccine, and you can give both the vaccines even together. Morning you can take the rabies vaccines, evening you can go and take the Covishield or the Covax. There is no clear-cut difference you need to have. You can take both the vaccines together.
This is common to all. This is our children anxiety for the nursing students. When will be the lockdown gets over, so we can continue with our offline education, because online is difficult, especially in nursing.
So for the students of nursing, it is online is very difficult. They want offline examination. If you go and ask the 10th and 12th students who are fast approaching the public exam, they say this batch is very happy and safely has gone without examination. What about us who are now passing out from +1 to +2? So we all want offline education to be continued. We are just waiting. So the pandemic date has been said by Dr. Subramanian, 4 to 5 years. So we pray that it should be lesser than that, and soon the transport has been started mobilized. Soon we will meet each one of you face to face.
What is the interval between vaccination and conception? Is there any guidelines? I think
No, ma'am. Actually, what the guidelines tell is there is no such interval between the vaccination and the conception. But initially, we had thought that better to wait for at least 2 to 6 months post vaccination. But some of the OGSN experts have told that in that that CASOG. The Foxy guidelines, which they have told that there is no such guidelines, and even pregnant women can also go and get the vaccination. But the only issue is in which trimester to get the vaccine. That is the one which we are also waiting for. That probably in a month or so we will be getting the guide. Within a month we will be getting the guidelines. So we have to wait for that.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. The news from Britain, they say that they have started giving third dose of vaccination to stop the third wave of COVID-19. So in India, do we go for any third dose of vaccination?
As of now, no, because the guidelines clearly tells that only 2 doses has been recommended so far. Why they have gone for a third dose is because the natural infection provides immunity for 6 months. Natural COVID-19 infection, But whereas a vaccine will provide immunity for 1 year to 1.6 months, or so that is 18 months, 1 year to 18 months. So after 18 months, what to do? So that is a property of the virus. The virus will keep on mutating, and that is why a probability of a booster dose may also come in the future. So that work is research work is also going on. Maybe I think that is a booster dose which they have started in UK, but as of now not started in India.
Ma'am, we have a question in YouTube, ma'am. So is it okay to get vaccinated if the antibody IgG for COVID-19 is high?
Can you come again?
Sir, is it okay to get vaccinated if antibody IgG for COVID-19 is high?
Yeah, it means that you have developed the antibodies to a natural infection. For example, let us say if you are infected with COVID and you have recovered from the infection, post recovery after 3 months, you can go ahead and take the vaccine.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions are there? Vikashni?
No, ma'am. It has been discussed, ma'am.
Okay. There are different names have been allotted for these vaccines. Is there any particular reason or the variant chemicals compound used for it, sir?
Ma'am, can you come again? There
different names they have been allotted for these vaccines. Is there any particular reason they wanted to know? Because of the various chemical component used or any other reason?
No. I don't think so. Because in Covishield, if you take the components are histidine, polysorbate, ethanol, and sucrose, then you have the virus. There is nothing called as the shield. So it all depends upon the manufacturers and the scientists to allot the names rather than... like, for example, if you take Moderna, MODERNA. So it is an mRNA vaccine. So M stands, that mRNA comes in that Moderna name itself. So like that, they have developed the vaccine's name rather than the components.
So if a person has asymptomatic COVID infection, if they take vaccine, is there any problem?
Yes, even if he is an asymptomatic, asymptomatic COVID-19 RT-PCR positive, after he tests negative or from the day of recovery, 3 months after that only he can take the vaccine. So he have to wait till 90 days.
I'm not sure, like, because I am asymptomatic, I'll just go and take a vaccine. I'm not sure whether I am infected or not.
Okay, if in that case we never know. Anybody can get the. That is the reason, you know, there are certain side effects which also happens in few of the cases. Like in UK, it happened. Some 4 cases of thrombosis happened following a Covishield vaccine. Out of I think 10 lakh doses administered, 4 cases developed thrombosis. Scientists are telling us that these persons might have developed a COVID-19 asymptomatic infection. COVID-19 itself triggers a prothrombotic state. So that might have aggravated the condition. So that is the only possible event which can happen, but we never know, ma'am. That is
Thank you, Dr. Arun. The last question is, even Dr. Jaishu was telling about the people who have the alcoholism, can they take vaccine before and after? So the person has asked the question here, Varsha, what happens if the person consumes alcohol after taking vaccination? Is there any relationship between this? Will the efficacy of the vaccine reduces?
You're asking Jayashree, ma'am, or me?
Because she spoke about alcoholism, so whoever can answer, sir, no problem.
Jayashree, ma'am, if you want to.
They should not, he strictly said that they should not take alcohol. No, definitely alcohol. Everybody knows that it's a poison. Then why people are again the same problem every day we are facing this. People are, that's what I said, real incident that a patient came and asked me. You know, saying we have to make them understand they should not take alcohol because it may affect their liver and spoil all the internal organs. That it is not advisable to take alcohol.
To add on to it, Dr. Jaisudha, to add on to it, I think not only during the vaccination period, it should not be a part of a lifestyle. Simple. There's no need to ask this question. As Dr. Jaisri was saying very clearly, absolutely, it is not. It is a killer. It is a killer. So there is no doubt about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
If
sir.
the D-dimer value is high, can they be vaccinated?
No, that is a very good question. That is also one of the contraindication I forgot to mention. The patients who are on oral anticoagulants, like warfarin, usually they take acetron, right? There are many antiplatelet drugs, there are anticoagulants. You should not confuse between the two. Patients who are already taking aspirin, clopidogrel, like antiplatelet drugs, they can go ahead and take the vaccine. You have to be clear on that. But patients who are taking anticoagulants, okay, especially the oral anticoagulants, the injectable anticoagulants like dabigatran and all, you can go ahead and take the vaccine. But for oral anticoagulants, especially, you need to check the INR value and the D-dimer value. If the INR value is high, if the D-dimer is high, better to defer from vaccination till your INR and D-dimer comes to normal. Once it comes to normal and once it comes to below 1, you can go ahead and take the vaccine. But if it is on a higher side, better to wait until it decreases and then you can take the vaccine.
Dr. Arun, I suppose this is going to be the last question. With this, we'll conclude it. What is your opinion about SARS-CoV-2? Is it natural or man-made?
My answer would be it is natural, because many of the experiments, even the WHO and whatever literature from where I have studied, it seems to be a natural infection rather than a man-made. Maybe other experts can also add, but my opinion is it is a natural infection.
Any other opinion of experts, sir? Is it a man-made or a natural disaster?
Yeah, even I just browsed on this particular aspect. It has been very clearly said, most likely it would have been originated from the bat or pangolin or the human who has eaten or has contacted. Only through that this virus has spread. It is not something which has been intentionally made in the lab to spread the biowar. For that it has not done. So that is the information we have heard so far.
Thank you so much. I think we have come to the end of the session. There are no more questions from the chat box. I think Lena has asked, is coagulation cascade with COVID vaccine vicious cycle?
Not with the COVID vaccine. The coagulation, like for example, if I have already told that the COVID-19 virus infection itself triggers a prothrombotic state in our body. So in top of that, if the patient is already taking anticoagulants and the INR and D-dimer is high, that is what I told to defer from the vaccine. But the COVID-19 vaccine itself will not trigger a prothrombotic state as far as data is concerned.
Thank you, Dr. Arun. Thank you all so much.
Thank you everyone, and thank you to Dr. Jaisudha for this wonderful opportunity has been given for the panel as well.
Now I hand over to Vikash. Vedavalli.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I think we made it today.
Special thanks to Dr. S. Vijayalakshmi, Principal, Vignesh College of Nursing, who despite her busy schedule, she spontaneously accepted our invitation and to join us and very ably moderated and summed up the panel discussion. Thank you, ma'am. My sincere thanks to all the eminent panelists, Dr. Arun, Zonal AEFI Senior Consultant, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, New Delhi, Dr. Subramanian, Professor, Government Arts College, CBE, Dr. Kavita, Assistant Professor, PhD CAS, CBE, and Dr. K. Jayashree Murthy, DHMS Homeopathy Practitioner, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, who despite their hardcore official commitments joined us and made this panel discussion a very lively and eventful one. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sirs. Big thanks for all the audience and discussants for their valuable contributions in making this event and intellectually stimulating. Let me mention through that the panel discussion wouldn't have taken into shape it took, but for keen personal interest taken by our principal, Dr. A. Jayasudha, PhD College of Nursing, amidst her busy schedule, she frequently interacted with the organizing team and provided us with several ideas right from the conceptualization to the conclusion stage. Thank you, ma'am. The response from the participation in this conference has been indeed overwhelming. Thank you everyone for your valuable participation. Thank you one and all.
Thank you all. Hearty
Thank you, ma'am.
congratulations to the community department. All of you all, please stay safe, stay healthy, and get vaccinated. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.